All right. This is the second part of the string library functions. All right. Let's start off with the method toLowerCase. Now, this method is similar to the toLowerCase method that's present in the character class, but this works on a string rather than on a character. And this method converts all the letters of your string to lowercase. All right. So let's see an example of this. So if I call str.toLowerCase on this particular string, then I would get a lowercase representation of this. So I would get ma, la, ya, lam in lowercase. Moreover, if a string contains any characters other than letters, then those characters would be skipped at the time of conversion to lowercase. So let's show that in action. Let's copy this and let's paste. So let's say we had this ABC at the rate 123, and suppose I wanted to convert this to lowercase. I would call toLowerCase on it, toLowerCase, and the returned value of this would be ABC at the rate 123. So the toLowerCase function takes care not to convert or try to convert any characters other than letters to lowercase. Sorry for that. Now, uh, okay, I have this jumble of mess over here. Let's delete that. Okay, this is all right. Now, you might be thinking that because I called a toLowerCase on this string, then the content of the string might have been converted to lowercase. But that is not the case over here. If we print the content of str, we will get back the original string that was allocated to it, malai lam. Now, why does this happen? Well, this happens because strings in Java are immutable. Therefore, all the functions or all the methods that string library class has to offer always creates a new string and it returns that new string to you. It does not alter the content of the string on which it is called, right? So that is the reason why the content of str has not changed, whereas str.toLowerCase has returned a new string consisting of lowercase letters. All right. Now there are situations where we would like to convert the content of a string variable to a lowercase. We would not want the original uppercase form of that string. There are cases where you would want that. Now, how should we go about doing that? Well, we can do that through the help of reassignment. You see, the new string that is given by the toLowerCase function can be assigned to str so as to convert or change the content of it. For example, let's say I have the string str equals Malayalam, and if I want to change the content of this to lowercase, then I would write this. I would write str equals str dot to lowercase. And this reassignment would assign the lowercase form of this string to str, and therefore, if I want to get the output, if I want to print the value of str, I would get back the lowercase version. And all the functions in string library classes always returns a changed string, a new string that has been changed. It never changes the content of the string that it's acting upon. All right, let's move on to the next function. Now, the next function is toUpperCase. From the name, it's quite evident what this does. This converts the content of a string to uppercase. So if I have this string, which consists of all lowercase letters, then str.toUpperCase would give back MALAYALAN in all uppercase. But it would not change the content of the string. This is just a new string that it has returned. The content of str would still remain the same old thing. Malayalam in all lowercase. Now, like lowercase, to uppercase method takes care not to convert any non-letter characters present in your string. All right. So therefore, if you were to let's say convert this, just a second, I'm just copying this thing from the previous slide faster than copy this. Okay, let's say this to uppercase. Let's change this to small abc. Then the output would be capital ABC at the rate 123. Only change the letters and does not affect the non-letters. All right. Now, like in the case previously, if you want to convert or store the content of a string to uppercase, then we would need to perform a reassignment. So we need to write str equals str dot to uppercase. And this would be the notation or the thing that we would follow in Java quite often. Okay, so we would get back string in Malayalam in uppercase. Malayalam. All right. Moving on to the next function. Now, replace is used to replace an old character with a new character in a string. Replace all the occurrences of the old character with the new character in a string. So let's say I have here a string containing X at places where there should have been A. So what we must do then? We should call the replace method on str and pass the old character as X and pass the new character as A. What this would do is it would replace all the occurrences of X with A. All right, and therefore we would get back a new string that's Malayalam. Right, but we should keep this in mind that replace or for that matter any other function does not change the value of the string that it's acting upon. This is a new string that it has created and it's a return. How is that evident? If you print out the content of the old string, you would get back this. All right. Now, there are cases where you would like to store this in str. So here we need to perform a reassignment, and that can be done using this statement. Str equals str dot replace X with A. All right. And therefore, we would get back Malayalam. All right. Moving on to our next function. Now, this function is used to concat or join two strings. Now, what is done is it takes in two parameters. One string is the string on which concat is called. Another is the string that's passed to it. So what happens is it joins the contents of x and y together, and it returns this new string. So let's say I have two strings bat and man, and if I call str.concat str2, it would mean bat would come first, followed by man, and therefore str3 would have Batman. Now, if I were to call str2 dot concat str1, then conveniently the first string is going to be man and the last string is going to be bat. All right. Now, the functionality of the concat function is often done using the plus operator. So this concatenation operator is done to perform the same thing. For example, if I want to get back str2.concat str1, I would conveniently write str2 plus str1. You need to have the knowledge of this function so as to write your output prediction questions, solve your output prediction questions. All right. Moving on to the next function. Now, this function is used to compare or check the equality of two strings. Now, why is this required? Because we have already established this before. I've already told you in the arrays versus strings video that we cannot use the equals operator, is equals operator, relational operator, to compare two strings because of how strings can be differently created, implicit creation and explicit creation. Which is why we need to use functions such as equals and the next function that's equals ignore case to compare the content of two strings. Now let's say I have these two strings, back and back. Now I would compare two strings by calling equals on a string and passing in another string. So this line of code str1 dot equals str2 would compare str1 with str2, and the return type of this function is a boolean, right? So back and back are equal, therefore res1 is going to have the value true. All right. Now let's say you have been asked to compare these two strings, back and back, but str2 is in all lowercase. In this case, res2 would be false. Why? Because equals performs a case sensitive comparison, meaning it takes the case into account as well while comparing two strings. Therefore, capital B and small b, capital B and small b are not taken to be same for this function equals. It's a case sensitive comparison. Now there are cases where you would like to perform a case insensitive comparison. So in that case, you would be using equals ignore case. Now this is same as the equals function. It compares two strings for equality, but here it would ignore the case. It would only take into account the characters that are present in the two strings. So for example, I have str1 and str2, and in this case, res1 is going to be true because the content of the two strings are equal. The content of the two strings here are also equal if we neglect the case of these two strings. And therefore, equals ignore case would return true in this case as well. And this is the point of difference between equals and equals ignore case. So that's it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to start off with the compare to function, which is very important for our prediction questions. So I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.